Hello, my name is LeVar Thomas, and I'm so excited to be here with you to share the power of self worth and stepping into your own personal power and why that's important in leadership today in the 21st century as leaders to understand who you are and the values that you have and leaning into your abilities to impact, to transform while remaining comfortable in your skin. In a world where it's so easy to be other people, self worth is about learning to be yourself and loving who you are inside of your own skin and being comfortable with that. It's truly a powerful place to lead. So when I think about the power of words, I try to be intentional about the words that I speak. I am are two of the most powerful words that an individual can use. But what's important is what comes after that statement. How do you see yourself? How do you describe your self concept? And how do you value yourself? Because the words that come after the I am statement can determine your reality, it can determine your future, but more so, it can shape the impact or the lack of impact that you have because of your belief system. The words that you speak goes back to your underlying subconscious mind that shapes who you are. So take a few moments to just think about what words come up for you when you write I am. Are they positive? Are they negative? So as we go further into this session, we're going to explore three areas. One, how to become aware of the inner narrative. So what's the story that we're carrying or that we're telling ourselves that might be influencing our results, shaping the way we view ourselves? Getting clear about the inner narrative is so crucial to truly transforming our lives and the lives of others. The second thing is learning to control the inner negative conversation. That voice that shows up that tells us we're not good enough, that we'll never amount to anything, that speaks us out of opportunities. Anytime we want to leave our comfort zone, it reminds us that the comfort zone is the best place to be. Maybe you've experienced that. Maybe you have had that internal voice tell you things that may not support the direction that you're trying to go in life. So in this session, you're going to learn how to overcome that and control that. And the third thing is we're going to learn tools to affirm our self-worth and stepping into our personal power. Now, affirming our self-worth is something that we don't often do. The same way that we may eat or we may exercise or we may try to keep up with things in our life, we must keep up with valuing ourselves and our abilities and our mind and our potential, because in valuing ourselves, we're able to overcome some of the negative influences within our environment. When our environments are telling us who we're not, we're able to reaffirm who we are. So in this workshop, we're going to explore these three areas. When you bring them all together, it really makes you a transformational leader and an impactful leader in your own personal right. So I like to show this picture of me from two different phases of life. And the left picture was in 2009 while I was a community college student. And the second picture is me in 2019. Two separate people when I look back at these images. On the left hand side, I struggled tremendously with understanding my value. I didn't know who I was. I didn't know the impact I wanted to have in the world. I wasn't clear about my purpose. And because of that, I aimlessly kind of walked through life, not not comfortable in my own skin, I would say, and needing to seek external validation, needing the approval of others to to make decisions. And it's a terrible way to live, not understanding who you really are. Because you kind of aimlessly walk through life and just trying to find your way, and you just constantly feel lost. I felt so lost. And at that point in time, I had got rejected from all the colleges I applied to. So when I went to community college, in my mind, I told myself that I wasn't smart, I wasn't good enough, that I was a failure. And those words created a narrative for myself where I didn't want to take risks. I didn't want to leave my comfort zone. I didn't want more beyond what I was currently experiencing. And I had to rewrite that narrative. And through the help of mentors, I was able to kind of elevate my mind and view my setback as a stepping stone and not as a destination. That I didn't have to be limited to that experience, but that it was only a starting point. And with that being only a starting point, I can plan, and I can become more, and I can be more, and I can do more. And from then, I was able to take advantage of opportunities and using my experience of not getting into college the first time around to empower others who may have been in situations, others who may have not did well on the SATs, and empowering them to keep going, to keep pushing through, to traveling the world and becoming a Peace Corps volunteer and living in Rwanda and starting my own nonprofit organization. That all those results came from a shift in changing the narrative of who I was and changing the words that I used to describe myself, my life, and what I wanted. So you have to do the same as well, because your transformation lies within you as soon as you begin to affirm those areas in your life. So self worth and leadership, how are they connected? I love this statement. It's just your impact is tied to your ability to understand your value. When you don't understand your value and your worth, it's extremely difficult to lead because you're out of alignment. You're leading for the wrong reasons. And as a leader, you have to have a vision that's rooted in values. Because as you're leading others and as you're striving to have an impact, when you serve from that inner core place, you're truly able to connect with those that you're serving. You're able to tap into the experiences that you've had in the past, the setbacks or accomplishments or achievements, and really connect that to those that you're serving. Being able to connect is so powerful because it not only shows that you're self-aware enough to leverage your past experiences to meet people where they are, but you're comfortable in your skin and you recognize how all of your experiences shape the person that you are and you lean into those areas of your life. So your self-worth must be intact. That inner work is necessary for leadership because the more you become self-aware, the more confident you become in your abilities, and the more you can lean into those areas, the greater impact you have as a leader. So I want you to think about that. When I think about self-worth and leadership, these images tend to come to mind. It's freedom, it's empowerment, it's innovation, it's impact. You tend to visualize yourself being the change you wish to see in the world. And that is truly a powerful place to lead because you are empowered to impact others. You're empowered to lead with a vision of changing your circumstances, changing the circumstances of others, and adding value. So, as we think about self worth, I want you to consider three questions. The first question is, how do I see myself? Which goes back to self concept. How do you see yourself? The second question is, what are my values? What are the things that I embrace, that I embody, whether it be honesty, integrity, vision, impact, service? What are the values that you want to align with your life and want to embody and to lean into on a daily basis? And the third question is, do I show up as my best self? Now, this is really important because how you show up tends to reflect whether you're in alignment or out of alignment, whether you're showing up in your values, if you're showing up in the self concept that you've put forth for yourself, or are you settling? So, thinking about these three questions allow you to get more aware of how you're showing up in different areas of your life. So, write these questions down and take some time to reflect on them as you think about your self worth. Now, when we think about what shapes our self worth, there are a number of factors that I personally believe are very impactful and influential on how we see ourselves. And the first thing is our relationships. Now, growing up, my parents would always tell me, you are the company that you keep. Beware of your friends, beware of your associations, and relationships, associations that you might be a part of. are serious when it comes to identifying the qualities that affirm who you are. If you're around people who are negative or toxic, 9 out of 10 times those qualities will seep into yourself and you manifest those things in your life. So we have to be very careful about the relationships and understanding how the relationship that we're a part of are shaping our self concept. The second thing is our environments. Growing up in Brooklyn, New York, there were many people around me who I saw that didn't like learning or leaving their comfort zones or leaving their communities. And for me, if I would have internalized that and said to myself, you know what, traveling is not cool, or being in school is it's not a cool thing to do, then I would have negatively affirmed myself. It wouldn't have been an encouraging thing for me to do when I lean into the negative areas of my environments and what my environments were telling me. The third thing is our experiences. Our experiences shape our self concept because sometimes we can be holding on to things that may not affirm who we are. When I mentioned earlier in the session about me not getting into college, that experience devastated me. It broken me, and I had my back against the wall, and I wasn't clear about what was next. And that experience led me to increase the volume of that negative conversation that I was having with myself and who I wasn't. And the fourth and last thing that really impacts how we see ourselves is the media, the things that we see on TV, the things that we read, social media. When you hear the quote, comparison is the thief of joy, it's true because we continue to compare ourselves to the mountaintop of others that are doing great work. And sometimes it comes at a time when we may not be in our ideal situation. So we compare ourselves not realizing that we're comparing our value to somebody else's peak and how that can be detrimental to our own self-worth. So I want you to think about the factors that may shape your self-worth and seeing what are the sources and where they come from. Understanding that experiences create a cycle. So negative thoughts leads to maybe negative feelings or upset feelings, which then leads to unhelpful behavior, aka self-sabotage. So when you think negative thoughts, there's no way that that can channel into a positive outcome. It only holds you back from getting to the destination that you want to get to or becoming the person that you want to become. So we have to understand how our internal programming is shaping our external results. And if you want to change the external results, we then have to rewrite the internal programming. So how do we do that? How do we begin to assess our inner narrative? In terms of assessing the internal narrative, we have to break it down and look at it from an internal versus external place. It's the stories that we tell ourselves from our own experiences, or have they been projected upon us? Have they been derived or internalized from our external environments? And being able to distinguish between the two and recognizing whether it's truth versus opinion. We have to make a distinction between the two because some things that we may consider to be true may just be an opinion that someone else told us. It could be an opinion of someone who said, you will never amount to nothing given where you come from. And you internalize that opinion and take it as truth, given an experience that you may have had. So getting clear about what's true versus what's an opinion, and then assessing the lies you've told yourself, getting clear about, hmm, maybe I've told myself some things that may not be as true as I thought, and being able to say, this is a lie. This is actually the truth. I am good enough. I am smart. I can accomplish great things. And you do that by affirming the qualities you like about yourself and thinking about what are the things, what are the areas of your life that you actually like and embrace, and writing these things down and getting clear because clarity brings self-awareness and key to having an impact. Now, some tools to help you step into your power to not only affirm who you are, but to take action. And the first tool is to affirm your self concept. You have to affirm yourself daily and the person that you're trying to become in order to feel confident in that person. If you've told yourself that you're not good enough, 9 out of 10 times you've believed that truth, and now it may be hard to unconvince yourself that you're not good enough. And you have to strive to go out of your way to feel like you're good enough. So every day you have to affirm that I am enough and that you have strengths and abilities and values that allow you to embrace those things. So you have to affirm yourself constantly daily. The second thing is tapping into your purpose. Getting clear about why is what purpose speaks to. Why are you here? Why am I here? What's the reason for my being? And getting clear about what experiences have you had that align with your gifts that allow you to make an impact. And getting clear about those things. Maybe you have gifts that others may not have, but you need to affirm those things. The third thing is challenging the inner negative conversation. And you do that by taking action. You do that by countering those negative ideas with facts and truth about who you really are or what you're doing in your life. You have to counter those things and challenge the conversation, not just allow it to happen. The fourth thing is getting clear about the impact you want to have. When you get clear about the impact you want to have, it allows you to channel your potential and your purpose. And that's key in terms of making a difference, in terms of leading and being a transformational leader. The fifth thing is establishing boundaries, not only for yourself, but for others. Drawing a line where you say, you know what, I'm not going to tolerate this. I'm not going to allow myself to beat myself up anymore. This is where I draw the line. This is where I'm gonna change the inner narrative. And when you decide to establish boundaries, that's the day you begin to regain control of your mind and your self-concept. So this last slide is about cultivating authenticity, and it captures all of the things we discuss: establishing boundaries, understanding what you're taking in, what are you reading, how are you stimulating your mental garden and affirming who you are, because your self-concept determines your self-worth. And the words that you use has to be empowering, has to be encouraging, because when they're not, they're sabotaging the very growth, impact, and purpose that you were created to have. So thinking about the values, the mission, the vision, those things are all in alignment with the words you tell yourself and your self-worth, valuing yourself, embracing those things. And when you're able to do that, then you're truly able to be a thermostat in your environment and not just a thermometer. You begin to change things because of the person you are at your core and leading from that place and believing in yourself from that affirmed place. So, as you think about the questions that I posed in this presentation, I also want you to do the supplemental assignment where you're looking at the self limiting beliefs that you have fostered and thinking about how they may have been holding you back and beginning to move the needle from the negative words and a negative narrative to a positive narrative that allows you to be your best self and to have an impact. I hope this session has been helpful for you, and I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you.